How's it going? I'm Lou Murrall, Director of Photography, and you're listening to the UK Creative Podcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the UK Creative Podcast. My name is Andy, also known as Elvis, and I'm a filmmaker based here in London. Today I'll be your host, bringing you interviews, experiences, and insider knowledge from the creative industries within the UK. Today on the show we have Lou Murrall, Director of Photography based in the heart of England, Birmingham. Lou has worked with broadcasters such as Sky, Channel 4, the BBC, and has an amazing set of commercial credits working with brands like Aston Villa and the Royal Shakespeare Company. Today we're going to be talking about shooting product commercials in a relieved lockdown, how it is to shoot community-driven projects, often with a lot of different insights, and the ever-changing landscape of technology and what it means to us as shooters, including the Infinity Mabo Edge and the upcoming Red Komodo. So without further ado, let's get to it. Hello, Lou. How are you doing?
I'm all right, Andy. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Not too bad. It's a bit weird, doing this over Zoom, over the internet. It would be nicer to do this in person for our inaugural podcast, I guess.
Yeah, I agree, but I think with the way things are currently, everybody should be grateful for the internet because it's allowing us to stay communicated as we are. Could you imagine going through this like 15 years ago and not having what we have access to now? How isolated and vulnerable you'd actually be, and how much more lonely it would be without the internet. So, hats off to the inventor of the internet.
How's it been your end?
It's I have done a couple of shoots. I've done one big shoot for a charity, and that was later in the lockdown. That was more of a stay alert period rather than stay at home.
Yeah.
And a bit naughty. I did do one during stay at home, but you have to balance these things. At the end of the day, if like me, you've got a family to protect, and you have to make them sort of moves. You don't know how uncertain things are down the line. Somewhat had to take a risk and do it. So yeah, bit naughty. But social distancing was in place. It was pretty safe. Didn't come into contact with anybody.
Well, I mean, like, how did you approach it? Like, how did the owner kind of react to having you in? And talk to us a little bit about how you approached that shoot.
So, when I got there was barely anybody in the gym itself. The gym was going through a refurbishment. So there was very, very few people in the gym. In fact, I'd say probably no more than 4 of us. It's a big old gym, a lot of space in there. So actually keeping the distance from people was so easy. And then when it came down to the shooting, obviously you can direct from afar. You haven't got to get in people's faces to tell them what you need them to do. So it was it was really easy to do because I just use a long lens, and being the type of shooter that I am and how I like to shoot things, I very rarely. You know this, Andy. You've seen my footage. I don't like to shoot wide. I try and keep everything above. What would you say about 24? My lens to go is a 24 to 70. 24 is the widest actually I'd go. It's just unless you've got a great design, it's to me keeping it wide can sometimes look a lot messy. So I like to keep nice and close. Typically I'd probably shoot anywhere between 30, 35 and 50. So in that sense, because of the way I shoot, it was really easy for me. I didn't need to get into people's faces. It was relatively straightforward and easy for me to do.
When you have been shooting during these lockdowns, like, have you taken any kind of different approach, or have you just kind of developed what you've already been doing?
Because I'm used to the way I already do it, and that's how I do it. I haven't really had to change anything there, so I haven't had to adapt. I haven't had to change how I want to shoot because that's how I shoot anyway.
Yeah.
So, in fact, I'm quite fortunate that I haven't had to adapt to style. I mean, I know a lot of people might shoot a lot wider than I do. They might end up having a problem with that. Having to get them shots where if you want to shoot at like 17 and be quite up close, give that distorted feel. I mean, I know a lot of gimbal owner-operators who probably fall more into a videography category than a cinematography category. They might encounter that problem a little bit more than I do. So, in my respect, no, nothing changed at all. It was exactly how I like to shoot, exactly the same, and it worked for me. There was a lot of thought process that went into it before I got in there. I knew exactly what I wanted to shoot. The clips were very short, very sweet. So I'd literally set the shot, get it again just for a bit of safety, move on to the next shot. I think each shot was no more than 15 seconds. I didn't want to keep people in an area. I mean, although the area was big, it was more than enough room for people to social distance. I still didn't feel that I needed to get extra coverage of things. It was kind of like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I've got to get. I know how this is going to cut together. Get in, get out, and then just common sense things. Obviously, you're going to start touching things around you. You're going to start touching things that are in the vicinity. So pot of alcohol hand wash next to me. Regularly cleaning my hands. If I touch the floor, if I touch some surface in the gym, it's just a case of just cleaning my hands all the time. Being aware that I was going to be touching the camera sooner or later, and sooner or later I'm going to touch my face because, subconsciously you touch your face 15 times an hour. So being aware of that was my own precautions. And then to top it all off, straight after the shoot, it was self-isolation for 7 days.
Obviously, things were a bit more stricter there, but for this community project that you've been doing about the virus, with the charity, how challenging was that to shoot? Like, there was plenty of people there on the day. I mean, because it was kind of like a collection of all the key workers, I guess. So, how did you kind of navigate that as an obstacle?
So this one was a little bit different because naturally there was more people around. There's more people doing things. So I started shooting it on a set of CP3s, and then I quickly realised that switching lenses every 15 minutes wasn't going to work for me. So, and that it simply put me more in a position where I was having to go around people, I was having to touch more things, I was having to go back and forth. Probably within about 2 hours of the shoot, and I always tend to carry this lens with me, but I switched over to the 17 to 50 red zoom lens, and that pretty much become the lens for the shoot. The CP3s, as much as I love them, they went out the window just simply because I needed to work fast. I needed to, I needed to be away from people. Putting an 18 on and then realising, that's going to look better on that's going to look better on a 35 or a 50. It just weren't working out for me. Yeah. So, because I'm more of a shoot at the hip type of guy, I like to shoot from the hip. I like to hold the camera in front of me. I wanted a cine saddle, and I've wanted one for a long time. And, with the cine saddle, well, you can strap it round you, you can rest the camera on it. So I've gone on to CVP and I've had a look at the cine saddles. And I'm like, what? 450 quid? I can't afford that for a beanbag. So I found this video on YouTube because it works a charm. And basically, they're just these dry bags that are on eBay. And they're like UK 15 quid. I'm sure US you can get them for $15. And then I just filled it with, just your everyday beanbag replacement beans, which you can get a massive bag for like a tenner. And then this bag actually come with a strap, so I could strap it round me. So I had the bag strapped round me, and it was handy. Coming up to like my chest, so I could rest the camera on it. And away I went. I didn't need no tripod. I mean, as you know, I like to shoot with a monopod. With this shooting with a monopod and shooting with the tripod, it was absolutely out of the question.
That is so clever.
Yeah, I'll tell you something now. It kept the shot nice and steady. I don't like too much of a steady shot anyway. I like organic feeling shots. I don't like to use a tripod. I hate
So
tripods.
were you not like freehanding, handhelding that? Was that all kind of balanced on that homemade saddle then?
A lot of it was balanced on the saddle. But this was the best thing. So, like, for instance, there's one shot that we've both seen where the artist is standing there looking up at the wall with the can down by his side. And that was literally take the bag off, throw the bag on the floor, and put the camera on top of the bag. It was as simple and as plain as that, and I ended up with getting this fantastic shot because I was carrying this bag around with me. I mean, in some situations it's not going to work well, but for this particular shoot, it worked absolutely fantastic.
Was there on that set who had a say in the creativity and did that cause any problems, or like did they just tell you to go out and get what you thought you needed?
It started off with a director, but it quickly evolved into, because of the circumstances, I got to do what I got to do. I know what I need, and I don't know. I don't want to sound selfish, but it's kind of like you got to be left to your own devices to get things like that. It's meant to have that documentary feel. You can't be like shooting and playing back and stopping every 10 minutes when you're doing that type of thing to give somebody a bit of playback on a monitor, because it just wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to work, not with social distancing the way it was.
So how was it, like, especially police, like, how was that, having police on set in an environment where you're effectively being policed?
Well, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, the police was there, and a couple of times they kindly remind people, there's social distancing here. You need to social distance, which at the end of the day, the boys in blue was just doing their job. They weren't causing any problems. But on the flip side of that, it was so nice to see how cool the police was about what we was actually doing and what was being accomplished there, and they was incredibly grateful about it. Incredibly grateful about this, like, this mural that's going up, that's being painted by this world class graffiti artist who, may I add, Jen, or Josh is his real name, was just, it was magic to watch this all unfold. And I think the police had the same idea. I mean, on the last day, the Birmingham chief of police, I think his name's David, he actually came down and he marvelled. He'll be in the video somewhere, but what an absolutely fantastic guy. The emergency services did all rally around this, and because it is like a salute to them, and to our appreciation what they've done, because in effect they've put their lives at risk to keep us all safe. Do you know what I mean? During this whole pandemic thing, so giving them something a little bit back. I mean, every day there was two particular police officers who came by every day, and just watching it unfold. And I'll tell you a little story. The one police officer, he actually ended up getting painted on the wall because he was that. It was that.
Oh,
great.
really?
Yeah, he's one of the police officers on the wall. But such a nice guy. I've got nothing but praise for him, for all the key workers that came down and enjoyed what was going on, with the all but like a little bit of polite reminding every now and then, you guys need to social distance. But again, in them type of environments, it was, after so many weeks of lockdown, having something there that you can all get behind, and something that's got a higher purpose, higher value than what you actually do on a full time. Damn, it felt good. The sun was shining. Do you know, it kind of felt like, here, I'll tell you how I felt. The Shawshank Redemption.
Right, okay, yeah.
When they're having the beer on the roof? That's how I felt. I felt like Andy Dufresne. I'd been let out of lockdown, and you know, you was there in good company, and it was kind of like that, and like the police was there as like the guards, reminding you every so often. It was a wonderful feeling. It was absolutely brilliant. I loved it.
So everyone that was there, like, it was kind of a chill vibe. Like, there wasn't any, like, it's kind of more of a relaxed kind of setting where something cool was going on, basically.
Incredibly relaxed. You know, everybody knew what we had to do. We knew that there was social distancing in place. We knew that we had to be careful. We knew that we had to clean our hands every now and then. You know, some people chose to wear masks, other people didn't. I was one of them people that chose not to wear a mask. But the whole 5 days was just a common sense approach. And I mean,
yeah,
that's how I see our industry moving forward. We can get these blueprints and we can get these, you know, these papers put in as much as we want, but it is all going to boil down to your own common sense and your own initiative. If you take precaution, wash your hands. You know, use the antibacterial hand wash. Carry one in your pocket. Wear gloves if you need to touch different bits of kit. Wear a mask if you've got to get close to somebody. It's one of them. That's how I see the progression moving forward. You know, in the grand scheme of things, I'm not suggesting for a moment that everybody just goes and starts shooting like maniacs again. Think about how you're going to do it, and I don't think it's that hard to achieve. I don't think it, but probably on a bigger budget set, it is going to be complicated because you've got the experience there. I mean, I'm used to working on a lot smaller sets than you are, so you understand there's a lot more people involved on them type of things. But
well, I was speaking to a good friend of mine who's Spark. He says that, you know, if you have like a set built, then you have to have the riggers in, the riggers do their thing, and then maybe the DP comes in with the gaffer, and then they plan all the lighting, and then the riggers have to leave, and then the sparks have to come in, and then the sparks have to leave, and if they need to make any changes, they need to have the riggers come back in, and it's like, oh yeah, like, you can't simultaneously work on set anymore. It seems we're all having to do our own bits individually.
There's a lot of doom and gloom about our industry at the moment, and a lot of people saying we ain't going to be able to do it. We know, you know, how can we conform to this? But you know what? We've been drawing pictures on cave walls for over 10,000 years ago. And at the heart of them, there was all story. It's in our DNA. It's in our genetic makeup for us to want to tell stories to each other. So I know for a fact it's going to slow us down for a little bit. The handbrake has been slammed on, but I also I'm completely full of confidence with our industry that it's a temporary hurdle and we will overcome it, and sooner or later we're going to get a vaccine, or we're going to get some sort of antibody test that's going to tell us how safe we are, and then sooner or later them social distancing measures, they're going to drop, they're going to plummet, and we're going to be okay, and we'll be back to doing what we do.
Alright, you're listening to this show's featured track from one of our affiliates, Artlist. Have you ever spent hours, if not days, trying to find the perfect track for your video production? Well, look no further, because Artlist might have the solution for you. Music licensing can end up costing you an enormous amount of money, and whether or not you're licensing for TV, film, social media, or even for a podcast like me, licensing a single track can cost you quite a bit in the long run. For the price of £159 per year, you have access to their entire library of music. New tracks are added daily, and there's a lot of flexibility there that you can use to tailor to your production. You simply pick the track, use it on your own project or on a commission project, and the license will span across the web, TV, and film platforms. What's even better is that if you use our link, you'll get an additional 2 months free. 14 months of music licensing for £159 doesn't sound too bad to me. If you're interested, check out Artlist below, but for now, let's get back to the show. I wanted to talk a bit about the shoot that we did in the middle of a warehouse, which was a product shoot. It was a commercial for a Prosecco brand, and we were using the Phantom VO. Is it the VO?
Yeah, VO 4K.
What's the difference between that and the Flex?
So, basically,
Because you'll know that.
a Flex. So a Flex will have like a Cinemag on it. The Flex is also a lot bigger.
Okay.
It's a much bigger camera, whereas in the VO is a lot more compact, but you can't put it up to a Cinemag. So you shoot to CFast, but shooting to CFast is just a no. Like, it takes 15 minutes to dump one shot. So what we do is we've got like a 10G connection. The Flex 4K and the VO 4K are actually identical sensors. They're exactly the same. I could be wrong there. Need to double check that. I could be wrong, but from my knowledge, they're identical. They do the exact same thing.
God, what did we do? So we had the product sent to us, which is fine. But then we had the kind of the hurdle, I guess, of not being able to go out and get props or do any sort of set design, which for me is quite annoying, because obviously you want to jazz it up, you want to make it look as good as it could possibly be, but like I don't know where we found it. You found it somewhere. We had glitter.
Yeah, we had that sitting down the bottom of the office. I don't know why we had it there, but
It wasn't like just one packet though. It was like what? It was like 12 packets.
There was like a box of it. But again, totally get what you're saying. There's no room there for like any set design or anything like that, which is pretty disheartening. But when you're, chucking glitter at 1,000 frames and water at 1,000 frames, it can kind of make up for the lack of set design. It came out pretty good on like a black background. So we got one of them.
I think so.
One of them Lastalite panoramic backgrounds. Set that up, and I think it looked pretty good.
Because I mean, one of the main challenges was, I guess, lighting.
And boy, didn't we spend a lot of time lighting.
I mean, we didn't have too much. We had two 300Ds, two aperture 300Ds going through a trace frame. And I mean, we kept that so close to the product. Any lower and it would have been in frame. Then we had two from either side, I think, going through some silks.
Yeah, there was going through just your generic pop-up that you can buy off eBay for 25 quid.
We had an aperture 120D above and behind it, and then like an aperture panel below it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lights.
Yeah, and again, I'll tip my hat there to Aperture. I've done a lot of Phantom VO 4K shoots, and they are the go-to light. They're just like, there's no ballasts. You're not carrying a HMI that's bigger than a football stadium. They're such a godsend to the VO 4K, because 90% of what we do is on tabletop anyway. So having a 300D there that you can bring close in, you can suspend it from the ceiling, you can do so much with it on these VO 4K shoots. They're absolutely brilliant. I can't wait for the 600D.
In that case, could you argue that if those lights didn't exist, the amount of times you would have shot on the Phantom would fall 50%, 60, 70?
No,
90%?
Nah, because there's still a high demand for like the Phantom stuff, because it's good for food, it's good for liquids.
Yeah. And
yeah, I mean, we have done more exciting things on it, but there's still a demand for it. So no, I think we would still shoot on it as much. It'd just be so horrible carrying around that HMI with me everywhere. That 2.5K HMI that we've got with the flicker-free ballast, you just, it's just a pain in the arse. It's no good, and it's with this LED technology that's coming in. we haven't really got to worry about that anymore. So when you've got the 300D, you know, you can put two of them on a double arm, and away you go. You're not far off a 1.2. In fact, I would have thought that two of them would have made up a 1.2 HMI. And then not only that, you whack the Fresnels on them as well, and boom, you've got so much output from such a small light. And you'll know this as well, that when you're doing a VO shoot, if you've got to readjust the light, you're not going to lose skin off your fingers doing it with the 300D.
And like that whole shoot was just, there was three of us, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
Me, you, and Alex.
How would you say we handled social distancing it?
Like, it wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't.
I'll give you that. But that's the thing. Like,
do you know? I noticed that
it's just one of those.
It kind of fell apart at the seams when people was gathering around the monitor to look at the shot, because it's
that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I mean, we had a 21-inch sumo, and it was still gathering people. I mean, it's something worth noting that we're going to need bigger monitors going forward so that people can gather around them a bit more.
Yeah, or even more monitors, like probably chain out of one and come into another. But then how many monitors is like enough? Like, are we talking like are we having to have one per producer, like one for the direct? Like, you know, usually just bung them all in a tent or bung them all on the same bench.
Mm-hmm.
But like, how many theoretically will we need going forward if we're shooting with all these kind of measures put in place?
It's all going to boil down to what budgets are. Do you know what I mean? And that isn't going to be easy, because that's a worrying thing about what coronavirus is going to do. You know, maybe Hollywood and places like that will be able to handle it, and it will be all right for them because they've got that extra bit more money. But you know, the small independent world that haven't got a lot of money anyway. And don't get me wrong, it's still got a market there, the independent world and the low budget stuff. We watch some fantastic low budget things, and that makes me worry for that type of market, how that's going to be impacted. However, on the other hand, it could also have a reverse effect, in my opinion. It could also thrive that community. It could also thrive that independent world, because, like I said, people want to make films because it's a craft, it's a love. Maybe on small budget indie stuff, people are going to be a little bit more flexible with the whole thing. You know, you're not going to be able to afford a COVID inspector who's coming round checking things, and because of that limitation being removed, maybe the independent world will thrive a little bit more, or but being a bit naughty.
Well, I've seen a lot on Facebook now, and I mean it kind of more is like annoyingly the other day I clicked on a coffee one, like a coffee ad came up, and I thought, oh, that looks pretty cool, and now I've got about 400 different coffee commercials like come up on my Facebook, but it's all like kind of the same. It's like a product shot, and then it's just like, I mean, it's just what's it called? Like an After Effects animation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, an animation. But like it's just like product shot, and in the back it's like drink, 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 or eat, 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 and then it just changes colours, and then there's a bit of kind of, you know, cool floaty elements in there, and then that's it. And it's kind of like, is that half the way that it's going to go now? I mean, obviously not for the bigger brands, but like for the smaller brands, like.
Yeah, but do you know what, mate? I will say this as well. I think it's also a good thing, because people who didn't get a chance before might start getting a chance now. You know, they might start. People are going to have to take a punt on people. They're going to have to do it, you know, to get content and to film it effectively. You know, if people can do it in a home built studio and they can do it safely, why not? Do you know what I mean? Why not? It's like you're effectively containing it there and then. So I think it's, you know, It's going to level the playing field a little bit more, and I think people who have struggled in the past might have a bit of a glimmer of hope and get a little bit more work, because we're going to have to start being trusted more, especially with corporate video. How clients get involved. They want to sign
Absolutely.
off at every aspect. It might do people a little bit of a favour because they can't interfere as much anymore, and you know little little self shooters will be able to capture a vision a little bit better.
That's interesting. Do you think you'll get more work doing that kind of stuff, or what is it that you think you'll be focusing on? Let's say like kind of like from now, I guess.
I think looking at more brand work is definitely a way forward for me. And me managing content for a certain brand, um, I think that might be a little bit more of a wise approach, rather than
Yeah.
me just waiting for a job to pop up or whatever. I think it's best that I take a little bit more of a proactive approach to it, and it's kind of like, listen, I'll do it all. You know, I'll shoot it, I'll light it, I'll edit it. I'll do the motion graphics on it. A little bit like what I've been doing for quite a while, really, but probably a bit more on a larger scale now. I mean, I'm already in the process of dealing one customer up for was a corporate video until I told them that I'm not making a corporate video, and if they want a corporate video, to go elsewhere, because I wasn't really interested in doing a corporate video. And
Yeah.
now I've taught them into, a bit more of a cinematic approach, but I've also narrowed it down so I can shoot it all on my own, and I don't need to bring a focus puller in. I don't need to bring a sound man in. The only person that I've got to bring in external for this project going forward is I've got to bring a drone pilot in. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? So that's pretty much all I need to do with this job. The rest of it is just all getting cinematic shots. We're not doing any interviews or any head and shoulders, because I basically told them I'm not doing that. We're going to do one testimonial because of the one project that this company's working on, so it will go down well and it will look really good in their video. So we're just doing that one testimonial, then the rest is just all stage shots that will look highly cinematic, that isn't going to have a corporate feel.
How you're shooting, but like what kit are you going out with these days? Like, are you relying just based on kind of one thing, and then you've got your kind of default kit, or has that changed?
Yeah, I personally own two cameras, and depending on what the project is, them two cameras are more than adequate. I've got a Pocket 4K, Blackmagic Pocket 4K, and I've got the Kinfinity Terra
Yeah.
4K, and both are absolutely superb cameras. Enjoy working on both of them, but I've got to admit I'm more swinging towards the £1,100 Blackmagic Pocket cinema camera 4K. It's so versatile, and it
Yeah.
just it has its flaws. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's got its flaws, but it's also just such a robust little camera. And I mean, I hate the DSLR thing. I love a cinematic camera, but the Pocket 4K is ticking all them boxes for me. And I'm not having to carry extra accessories round or heavy equipment round to accommodate a cinema camera. I've pretty much got it all in my pocket.
Bit of a controversial statement there, saying that you'd rather have a cinematic camera than a Pocket 4K
It,
with cinema in the name.
it comes more down to what's needed for the job at hand, and
Yeah.
since Blackmagic Raw has come available, you know yourself, mate, it's a powerful codec.
It's great.
It's not up there with Red, it's not up there with R3D, but it's still an absolutely brilliant codec to work with on a manipulation scale. It gives you a little bit more breathing room in post. Obviously, we both know that I'm a Red shooter, but sometimes I can't justify it, and a lot of the times now I'm justifying this pocket camera more than I'm justifying any other camera.
What did you shoot? It was a Gemini that you shot on the that community, the Art for Charity project?
Gemini is my absolute favourite camera, and that's
Why
what
is that?
I just love the flexibility of the Gemini. I really really love it. Like it's, I'm on that shoot. I can't change lenses. I can't keep, I can't be 30 foot up in the air on that lift filming the artist and then have to slip in or take out a tray, put it down and end up breaking a filter. So, that low light mode, when it kicks in, when you need it, it's just absolutely unbelievable. And the footage is so clean. Like when you're in them higher ISO levels, it's just, it's a dream come true, really. It's to me, red is it's my camera system of choice.
What's your thoughts on the upcoming Komodo?
I am deadly excited. I can see the Komodo fitting in with me. Just the whole thing that excites me about the Komodo is it's small, it's compact, it takes CFast card, and Jesus Christ, that's going to be so good being able to use CFast cards on a red. It's going to shoot in R3D, so it's going to have the red codec. It's 6K. I believe that is going to become my camera of choice. I can see me using it on a lot for what I want to do, especially for the gym stuff that I do and the sports stuff that I do. I think the Komodo is going to be the camera for me.
Do you think it will replace your Kinfinity?
Yes and no. Because to me, the Kinfinity has got a colour science in it that, this as well, mate, because you've seen the Kinny footage.
I love it. I love Kinny footage.
Absolutely stunning footage. I don't care what anybody says. I hear a lot of people give it a bit of stick because, they say, oh, it's cheaply Chinese made stuff, and it really isn't. It's like, you haven't got a clue because you haven't had hands on it. So,
yeah.
In my opinion, the Kinney will always have a place for me. I don't know where, and obviously when the Komodo comes along and it's so small, it's so robust, it's so compact, I don't know where it's going to leave my pocket, and I don't know where it's going to leave my Kinney.
So are you thinking of getting the Komodo on release?
Highly likely, yes. Highly likely I will get a Komodo on release. Was looking at the Edge, the new Kinfinity Edge, but to me, it's. Of course. Don't get me wrong. That looks like a magic camera. It really does. I mean, the early specs that they've said. ProRes RAW. What more do you want? Do you know what I mean? What more do we want with?
And up to 8K.
Full frame.
I don't know what the frame rate options are, but the thing is with Kinfinities, they're quite large. Like you can go quite slow. Like a 4K, I think. What is it? 120 frames on your Terra?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is with the Terra 4K, mate, you get a lot of bang for your buck. You really get a lot for your money. It takes standard SSD. The mounts are incredibly cheap for it. I mean, when I say incredibly cheap, by cinema camera standards, they're like £400 a pop for each mount. That's amazing. That's cheap. You get a hell of a lot of camera for your money. Whereas if you want a Gemini, you've got that initial outlay for the camera, then you've got to get your red mags, you've got to get your different mounts, you've got to get this, you've got to get that. It becomes expensive. I mean, and to be honest, the Mavo Edge, it looks fantastic, but just seeing the price of it immediately, I can't warrant that price for the work that I do. Whereas I can warrant the price of a Komodo for the work that I do. So while I'm excited to see that camera and it looks amazing, I'm more excited for the Komodo because it's more in my price range. It's it's going to serve that purpose for what I want to do more. And if I could pick any codec to constantly work with, although it can be a pain on a lower end system, but I'll always go for red code raw. I'll always go for it because it's just such a solid codec.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I mean, like, I've kind of looked at it as well, and I've kind of ummed and ahed about it for so long, but yeah, it's because it's strange, because it's like I don't feel as though that it would be replacing any sort of camera, but I think it could. So it's kind of like, if I brought that into like my workflow, like, does that become a primary camera, or do I still use something else as my primary camera, and then that's my kind of backup thing? It's quite versatile, really. Like, I think in some of the bigger shoots, especially on like kind of the higher budget features, like, because I've seen pocket 4Ks and 6Ks be used as helmet cams and crash cams and stuff like that.
Which is what they're perfect for.
Which is exactly, which is what they're perfect for. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how the user base kind of approaches the Komodo, really.
Well, I mean, with your age of Netflix at the minute, and you know, Red's been a very popular camera for Netflix style productions. Could you imagine how useful that little camera is going to be?
I guess so.
It's going to be a fantastic, like, I'd even say as far as it'd be a good little B cam. It'd be a fantastic little B cam. I mean, at worst, a C cam, but it's going to give a lot more flexibility, because it's smaller and it's a lot cheaper. So, you know, and it's still going to have that codec in it. You can be assured that it's still going to have Red quality in it. You know, I know a lot of people give Red a lot of grief, but I still find Red a very reliable company.
All right, okay. Well, Lou, it's been great speaking to you. It's kind of been interesting to see how people have approached shooting during like kind of a lockdown, and yeah, hopefully it gets better for the rest of us soon.
It will, mate. It will. I'm a strong believer. Keep the faith.
Thanks again, mate. And hopefully we'll chat again soon. All right. I want to thank Birmingham-based DP Lou Murrall for coming onto the show. I hope you really enjoyed listening in and seeing his approach to shooting during these crazy times. If you want to check out some of the content that we've been talking about, please take a look in the show notes, where I'll put a link down to everything. And you can find Lou and myself on Instagram. Check us out again down below. If you have any questions, please get in contact, because we'd love to hear from you and get some feedback. And also, we'd love for you to join the conversations on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. So just search UK Creative on whatever platform you like and you'll find us. For everything else, head on over to www.ukcreative.net. And once again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.